Today is a beautiful day. We're in the 50s, but man, it feels like spring. I guess with the cold weather, you kind of get used to it, and then when you're having a moderate day like 50 degrees, it's like fantastic. I thought I'd do a this and that video where I just kind of talk about this and that, maybe a couple subjects. So as you know, I've been coming out here every other day or so, and I've been checking firewood. I've been testing it to make sure that what I'm taking into the house is 20% or less. I'm doing a lot better than last year. I mean, I haven't ran in anything like, oh no, we're in trouble. Last year, it's just almost everything was wet. And I was making excuses to myself, yeah, 25% should be fine. And well, I mean, we ended up having a chimney fire, but I'm still struggling. I mean, some of this should be dry and it's not. So like this right here, I just counted it, 16 months old from the day that I cut it, brought it up and split it. So this should be dry. Anywhere from a year to 2 years is what it takes oak to dry. You could argue that I could have split this smaller, and I wouldn't argue with you too much, but some of it is split, like this right here. These are split smaller, and they're still 23%. I mean, it's not 20%. I just don't want to risk it this year. But you come over here, I did split some of this smaller, I will admit, but most of it is well below 20%, 15%. So it's the size doesn't really matter. You can still see that I got some that are bigger sizes, but regardless. So what's the difference? Why is this, which is only, well, this isn't even 12 months old yet. I think March is when we got this, and this is January. So much drier than the stuff that is a lot older, and should be dry. I wouldn't even guess that stuff there I just pointed to was dry. So what's the difference? Well, the stuff this way is facing north and south. This is east and west. North and south is where the wind blows all the time, Right now we're getting a breeze from the south. Which is kind of odd for wintertime, but most of the summer it comes from the south, just drying that stuff out. But then in the wintertime, you get the breeze from the north, drying it out. I think that's the difference. I mean, I've heard that story before. I didn't really give it much thought. Didn't think it'd make that big of a difference. You know, 16 months versus 10 months. I didn't think it'd be that big of a difference, that dramatic. But it's very dramatic. Now, I know this stuff will be dry next year. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I already got the firewood set. This firewood's gonna last us most of our life. I don't have to worry about it too much. Restacking it or doing anything different. It'll dry. But if you're getting ready to do firewood, you may want to figure out your north and south direction and build the wall that way. The reason we chose to go, well, I mean, we lined it up, I guess, north and south, but the air isn't going in it. The reason we did it is because this place is on such a slope that we felt like if we did it the other way, like this, I mean, I've told you this over here is falling over. We had a little trimmer. I didn't even feel it. They said we had a trimmer, but when I came out, that firewood was about ready to fall down. So we're gonna have plenty of firewood for the winter. We're gonna make it easy. The thing I really wanted to talk about today is the grocery stores. Carolyn and I haven't been to the grocery store in probably 2 months. We're just doing so well with our canned food. We like to keep the freezer full. So when the freezer runs out completely, then we go to the grocery store. Well, it's got 5 packages of food in it. It can hold, I don't know, 30 packages, sometimes 40, depending on how tight we pack it. If you pack it too tight, as it freezes, it expands and you can't get the meat out because it's frozen into the freezer. This is Tuesday, so we're gonna go Friday, but I'm fully expecting there not to be any food there. That being said, the last time everybody was talking about the shelves being empty at the grocery store, we didn't experience a problem. And John keeps sending me pictures, well, a whole bunch of people, but John always sends me pictures of his commissary, and it's always out of food, it seems like. So he sent me one recently, and it's out of food. But the thing is what I'm finding really odd is, I don't get TV here, we just have YouTube. But since I've been doing my new channel, which I'll put a link to that new channel at the end of this one on the up next video, just click that and check that out, I appreciate it. But so I've been doing a lot of news, and I never watch CNN, but CNN even said that the shelves are empty. I think even the press secretary has admitted that there's a shortage in food. This has me concerned. We go to the store, there's not gonna be any food. You know, what are we gonna do? I actually saw a video of this woman just panicked, absolutely panicked. She went in the store and there was just nothing in there. She's crying and having a panic attack. Carolyn and I have no issues with that. We have canned food out the wazoo. We, of course, you know, have, I don't know how much we have now, probably less than 300 jars. I mean, I can't tell you exactly. We've been eating our canned food. But I asked Carolyn, I said, if we make it to the store and they don't have any food, are we okay? And she kind of did a rough estimate. She says, yeah, we probably got 80 days worth of food. We have been eating more meat and less pastas. So she was calculating it based on just eating meat and less pastas. But if the stores are empty and they're going to stay empty for a while, we could resort to eating pastas again because we have a stockpile of pasta before we decide to go on our carnivorous diet. We also have rice, tons of rice. We probably have 5 years worth of rice at the rate we eat it now. Now, the one thing the store always seems to have is those bags of 10-pound bags. I think it's 10-pound bags of chicken for like 59 cents a pound. So it's like $5 or $6 for a 10-pound bag of chicken. So what we agreed to when we get there, if the shelves are empty, then we're just going to buy those bags of chicken. We decided we'll get 9 bags. Our problem is we have no place to store them. So what we would have to do is put some in the refrigerator, put 3 bags in the refrigerator, put 3 bags in the freezer, and then put 3 bags in the cooler we got here. We'll get some bag of ice. And then I can spend the next 3 days canning 60 cans of chicken. That would put us right back to where we were before, before we started eating it. We started eating it right around, I don't know, Thanksgiving time. Get that replenished, and then we'd be fine again. We wouldn't have to worry about anything. I'm told a lot they don't see the point in this lifestyle. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who follow this channel who honestly just absolutely understands the reason to do this. But there are a lot of people who say they don't get it. And this is the reason why. I'm not saying, I try not to be a conspiracy theorist. I've said that many times. But when the shelves are empty, the shelves are empty. When the president is admitting that the shelves are empty, then obviously you need to kind of take it seriously. But I do watch these prepping channels, and they talk about stockpiling, and that's great. I mean, if you live in this city and that's the only thing you can do, you can stockpile, and then people are talking about the stress of stockpiling. Well, if you're trying to stockpile now, yeah, it may be a little late. You can't stockpile when the stores are empty. So yeah, there might be some stress involved. But I think about stockpiling, and I guess you could say we're stockpiling our canned food. I just don't see it that way. I don't see it as stockpiling. What I see is what my grandma did. When they butchered a pig, they canned the pig or froze it or did whatever they did. It wasn't that they were preparing for anything. Grandma would regularly butcher cows or buy a cow from the auction and then have it slaughtered. But here's what I'll say about canning, is it's not as hard as what a lot of people make it out to be. You go to these canning sites on Facebook and people are asking questions, and then you get all these crazy answers. Oh, you don't need a pressure canner or any of that. Don't do that. Don't ask people. I see people on those canning Facebook pages asking people to come over to their house and teach them how to do it. Go get yourself a Presto canner. You can buy them at Walmart.com or Walmart. They're like $70 or $80. They're a little expensive, don't get me wrong. And jars, you gotta get the jars. And the canner comes with instructions. Read the instructions. I mean, just read the instructions. If you follow the instructions, you'll be fine. I mean, to the letter. Follow the instructions. Read it, highlight it. They got recipes in there, how to can chicken, and if you do have questions, you can Google, like you don't know a word like what is cold packing, what's hot packing. You can Google it, they'll explain it to you. But don't get recipes from people, because I hear people saying you can water bath chicken. They did in the olden days, but you also got to remember that's when botulism was so popular. People were getting sick from botulism. That's why they came up with the pressure canner idea. So you can pressure can and you don't have to worry about it. Pressure canning is safe now. Not only to eat the food, but they got these pressure relief valves now where they will pop loose. And I highly encourage you to go get a canner and try it. You know, give that chicken at Save a Lot or Aldi's or wherever 59 cents a pound and try it. See if you can get it to work. It's a bit of an investment. I do agree with that. You know, $80 for a canner. Then you gotta buy some jars. You know, you're up to, let's just call it a $10. Pints are cheaper than quarts. At least you're starting somewhere so you can start preparing. And when you see a sale on meat, you can go and get it. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I got a freezer, I don't need to worry about it. And that's fine. I mean, we lose California electric all the time. California is constantly losing electric. Texas lost electric last year. So electric isn't all that stable. My friends over at Living on a Dime to Grow Rich, she was saying that she was talking to some guy who works for a power company, and they were telling her that the power lines haven't been upgraded in 30 years. They keep adding more to the utility lines, more people keep using more electric. You know, now we have electric cars, and it makes sense. Yeah, the more society grows, the more power they need. Utility lines are so old they can't keep up, and so they just keep failing. Well, that's going to get worse. So if you have a freezer, you may not want to rely on a freezer. You may want to think about, well, my freezer might go down and then I've lost all that meat. Don't have electric or gas or whatever to cook with, you can just open those jars up and eat it straight out of the jar. So if you'll click this on the screen here, I'd really appreciate it. Take you over to the other channel, you get to watch a cool, funny video. I hope I can inspire you to stop thinking like a prepper and just make it a lifestyle so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.